Tuesday night. Welcome to Gentle Flow and Yin Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. We're going to begin with a rolled up towel, beach towel or firm blanket. You want a smooth, firm, skinny, cylindrical shape like this. And then we'll place it across your mat towards the rear edge with some space for your head. And then we're going to come into a soft, heart opening pose. Let's also take our 2 blocks or pillows if you have that. And as you bring your feet together in bound angle pose or Baddha Konasana, if your knees are lifting off the ground uncomfortably, you can place a block under each outer thigh to whatever height you need to support your legs so that you can relax your hips. And then keeping your pelvis on the floor, lean back so that you can lie down with that cylindrical rolled up blanket just underneath the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, right where your bra strap would be, ladies, so that you can drop your shoulders onto your mat. And then from here, you can decide to either raise your arms overhead, making sure to release the shoulders away from your neck, and catch opposite elbows. Or if it's more comfortable, try a cactus bend across the elbows. Backs of your hand are on the ground. And perhaps you close your eyes and just allow your body to find some stillness, beginning to deepen your breath. I'd like to open class with a poem called "It's Your Humanness That Inspires Me." It's from the book by Rebecca Campbell called Rise, Sister, Rise. It is your humanness that inspires me, your ability to choose to rise, fall after fall. It's your humanness that inspires me, the time you chose the light when it was darker than ever before. It's your humanness that inspires me, how you found the courage to let the life you had so consciously created crumble and fall. It's your humanness that inspires me, when you share your heart, cracks and all. It's your humanness that inspires me, that you tell the truth about how hard life got and how you're different from before. It's your humanness that inspires me, the day you let your old self die in order for who you were becoming to be born. It's your humanness that inspires me, how no matter how many times you doubted it, you never stopped answering the call. And as you continue to deepen your breath, imagine your next inhalation traveling into your nostrils, down to your throat, down to the lowest portion of your lungs and into your belly. From the pit of your belly, slowly empty your breath, whispering it out to your lips. Feel that a few more times, inhaling through your nose, or through your lungs, to the pit of your belly. And exhaling completely through your mouth. As we slow down and allow for moments of stillness, sometimes in not so comfortable positions of the body as it's opening up. Invite you to bring your humanness and seeing what might be vulnerable as opening the body can bring to surface things hidden beneath the layers. And now as you close your lips, Sustain your breath, deeply inhaling to the pit of your belly. Equal the length of your exhalation through your nose. Invite a soft whisper to track that you're breathing and how you're breathing by gently constricting the back of your throat. Feeling into your breath rise and fall. We're going to slowly transition out of this position so that if you have objects supporting your outer thighs, bring your hands down and slide those objects out to the sides. Place your hands on the outsides of your thighs and begin to lift your knees slowly so that you can step your 2 feet onto the ground. And now from here, separating your feet a little wider than hips distance. Slowly breathe in, drop both of your knees to your right side. Keeping your left shoulder on the ground. And as you breathe out, slowly lift your knees and let them both fall to the left side. So very gentle, mindful flow connected to your breath. Inhale, lift your knees. Let them fall over to the right. Exhale, lift your knees and drop them to the left. And at your own pace, try about 2 more cycles, 2 on each side. Gently allowing the pressure of the glutes against the floor, massaging into those knees beneath the lower back. And when you finish, dropping your legs evenly on both sides, then lift your knees back to center. Gonna straighten the legs forward as we come into our first wing massage pose. So start to roll over into your right side, keeping that cylindrical blanket just beneath the shoulder blades. But now you're lying on your side, so it's giving a pressure into that right wing area towards your latissimus dorsi. Let your right arm raise overhead so you're resting your head on your right upper arm. And here you could either bend your knees as you lie on your right side or keep your legs straight, whatever's more comfortable. And if you need a hip spacer, so as not to put too much pressure on your lower back, grab your pillow or something like it, even your blocks, and hug that in between your thighs, between the ankles, just like this. Left hand could be resting just in front of you. We're going to spend a total of 2 minutes on each side, just putting some pressure into that right side of your upper rib cage, just beneath the armpit. So here you are, after whatever momentum your day has been, gifting yourself space to pause, to address what you've been carrying in your body, in your heart, in your mind. Feel that takes such an act of courage. Thank you for being here. Now you might explore focusing on that physical area where your right side of your rib cage meets the towel or rolled up blanket, and directing your inhalation to expand into those portions of your ribs. Feel the exhalation softening that area too. Last 2 breaths here. So begin to roll onto your back again. Put the pillow aside if it's between your legs. Come back into the original position, letting the upper back lie across the rolled blanket. Just a few breaths here before we switch sides. Observing anything you might feel in your body that's different from the start. And then gradually turn over to your left side, keeping that blanket where it is. You might grab your pillow to hug between your thighs and ankles or your 2 blocks. Lying on your side, feel the area below your left armpit on the outer side of your left shoulder blade, making contact with the rolled blanket. Left arm under your head, reaching towards your rear wall. Right hand perhaps resting in front of you on the ground or your pillow. So sometimes as we enter these yin postures, the initial feeling is discomfort. But notice as you commit these 2 minutes to be with yourself, with whatever is arising in your body, how anything might change. And observing even on subtler layers, shifts of energy. Where your body makes contact with the rolled blanket, perhaps you explore, if you haven't already, breathing the spotlight of your awareness there. With the inhales, feel expansion in that area of contact. And with the exhales, feel a releasing into that area of contact. The breath perhaps offering a more intimate connection. Let's allow for 2 more cycles of breath here. And then gently roll back to center in that original position again, that supported heart opener. Pausing for just a few breaths. let's bend the knees again, setting the feet onto the ground so that you could lift your hips, take hold of that rolled up blanket and slide it from underneath your body off to the side of the mat. So now that your back is completely on the floor, extend your legs forward. Cross your right ankle over your left ankle. Raise your arms overhead, but place your shoulders down away from your neck. Take hold of your right wrist with your left hand. As you breathe in, imagine the full length of your body from the heels of your feet through the top of your head and your fingertips. And as you breathe out, start to sway your ankles over to the left, towards the left edge of your mat. Sway your head and your arms towards the left edge of your mat, creating sort of a crescent moon shape out of your whole body. So in this lateral opening of the right side, perhaps imagine breathing into all of it. Maybe starting into the right side of your rib cage, traveling up into the right arm, down the right outer hip, lower back. Notice if your right hip is instead of that, feel the weight of keeping this movement along the lateral plane. You might visualize your breath like a paintbrush, painting your breath from the outer right ankle, up the outer right shin, outer right thigh IT band, outer right hip, right rib cage, right armpit, right tricep, right forearm. And allow for just 3 more deep breaths here. And when you're finished with that, come back to center, uncrossing your legs. Keep your arms overhead and just separate your hands about shoulders width. And again, pause for just a few breaths, observing any difference. And from here, cross your left ankle over your right ankle. With your right hand, catch hold of your left wrist. Gently slide your heels towards the right edge of your mat. Stretch your head and arms towards the right edge of your mat, creating again a crescent moon shape. Feel your inhalation expand a little more into the left side of your rib cage. Then traveling up and down your left side body. Notice if your left hip wants to peel away from the floor, rolling you over onto your right side. Instead of that, let your left hip sink down into the ground. Among the physical benefits of a yin yoga practice is that by holding postures in sort of a deep stretch for much longer than a vinyasa flow class, we enter into deeper layers of the body, besides muscles, but down into connective tissues and fascia, in which many mind, body, spirit teachers like Louise Hayes talks about areas in which emotions and past stories, memories, can sometimes feel entrapped. So I invite you to notice if any emotions arise, being with yourself, with compassion and true kindness. Let's allow for 3 more deep breaths on this side. And then slowly unwind back to the center line of your mat, releasing your hands apart, releasing your ankles apart, pausing and observing for a few breaths. As you rebend your knees, lifting your feet off the ground, take hold of your bent knees and begin to circle your toes apart, breathing in, together, breathing out. Miniature vinyasa flow. Switching directions. And just any other organic movements of your thigh bones at your hip sockets, lubricating your hip joints. And offering your lower back a massage against the ground. From here, with your knees bent together, turn over to one side so that you can slowly press into your torso upright. Come on down into child's pose, and if you'd like to rest your forehead on a block, take that with you. Bring your feet together, but separate your knees, hips distant or wider apart. Offering a gentle stretch into your hips. Rest your forehead on the ground or onto a block, resting your arms forward. Feel the weight of your pelvis descending down towards your heels, down towards the earth behind you. So that through that descent, you might feel an elongation of your lower spine. Being still here for a couple more minutes. Is there any part of your body calling to you more pronouncedly? Tingling, any lightness or heaviness, any warmth, any tension? And you allow all the spectrum of what is to be acknowledged with acceptance. viewing each one of these sensations as messengers, simply messengers, not wanting to shoot the messenger. Listen. As you continue to receive any messages your wise, intelligent body is sharing with you, let's take 3 more breaths in this position. If you have a block or object under your forehead, gently move it aside off your mat. Let's extend the arms forward, pressing the palms face down. Now easing into movement to the sound of your breath. On your next inhale, start to rotate over to your left side or circle to your left side and forward, lunging onto hands and knees. And as you exhale, circle to your right side, returning back to child's pose. Perhaps you try this a few more times in the same direction, these lateral circles. And whenever you're ready, switching directions. Notice the feeling of marrying your inhales and exhales with each part of the motion. Feeling of unity, wholeness, connectedness, support. Finish your last couple of circles, cycles of breath. And let's eventually meet on hands and knees. As we prepare for a long range of motion in cat-cow, see that your wrists are just under your shoulders. Knees are just under your hips. Parallel your shins. On your next inhale, glide your spine forward, then slowly coil your chest up, gazing up as you roll the shoulders down. But as you exhale, hollow your belly, draw your tailbone downward into child's pose to meet your feet, resting your head towards the ground. Again, inhale, rise onto hands and knees, glide forward before coiling your chest up. Exhale, hollow your belly, looking towards your knees as you drop your pelvis into child's pose. At your own pace, continue on a few more cycles of breath. Let's return to hands and knees, all fours. Spreading your fingers so that the weight on your hands rebounds off the earth to allow space within your shoulders, stability there too. And then start to open your right knee like a window out towards your right wall. You might flex the foot and then close your right knee towards the left. Try that a few times. Inhale, open the right thigh. Exhale, close the right thigh. Perhaps 3 or more cycles of breath. So we're awakening our abductors and adductors in our inner and outer thighs. Perhaps you feel an awakening in the glute too. When you finish your last round, set your 2 knees on the ground and let's spin the tips to turn out, whether they face the outer edges of your mat or to some degree your knees, giving your inner wrists and forearms a stretch. Now we'll just pause here for a few breaths, mindful not to simply drop the head, which might feel like more tension in the neck. Look slightly forward of your hands and soften your shoulders down your back. If your fingertips are pointing towards your knees and you'd like to deepen the stretch in your inner forearms, try bending your elbows towards your belly too. Let's take 3 to 5 more breaths here. And let's turn the index fingers to face forward once again, spreading the palms flat on the ground. Rooting to rise and create space in the shoulders as you look forward. On your next inhale, lift your left knee to open your thigh towards your left wall. You might flex the foot. Exhale, close your left knee towards your right. Again, inhale, lift and open your left thigh. Exhale, close. Try that a few more rounds of breath. Then set your 2 knees on the ground and lean back towards your legs. We're going to give the outer wrist a stretch. So as you're leaning into your legs, make fists out of your hands and gently press your fists against each other. Keeping that, lean the backs of your fists onto the floor, flaring your elbows apart off the ground. Begin to shift your weight slowly forward, finding just the amount of weight you'd like to feel that stretch onto your outer wrists and forearms. About 5 breaths here. And then from here, place your hands alongside your knees so that you could tuck your toes behind you. Separate your feet a little wider than hips distance apart. And with very bent knees, come to stand, folding over your legs at your mat. Bend your knees so much that your spine has no problem releasing, especially your neck. You might opt to clasp your hands behind your lower back or hold a strap between them in an effort to open the fronts of your shoulders, your chest, while stretching your arms forward. Or if your entire spine just needs a little more unwinding, you might catch hold of opposite elbows and let your spine softly swing like a pendulum side to side. Either way, offer space in your neck by just letting your head
drop freely while floating your shoulders up away from your neck. Allow more weight to shift forward towards the balls of your feet. Offering just about 3 more breaths in this forward fold. Now bending your knees very generously. Keep tilting your weight forward. Release your arms, release your head. Let your spine just be unwound. Firming the fronts of your thighs, spreading your toes stably on the earth. Begin to contract your belly, and with a few breaths, slowly roll your spine, stacking one vertebra at a time from the bottom up. Take your time here. Feel the unwinding of your fronts of your shoulders back so that you can lift and broaden your chest. Feel the lift up through the crown of your head as your shoulders melt down. Let's come to stand facing the wide of your mat. Separate your feet much wider than hips distance here. And then from your hips, turn out your thighs and pivot your feet so that the middle of your knees point in the same direction as the middle toes under them. Then bend your knees wide apart to stack just above your ankles, rocking a little side to side. Just help to open up your inner thighs, roll your sitting bones downward. Gently lift your frontal hip bones containing your center. So we're going to add a gentle flow here. It's a heart-centered flow, sort of like a moving mantra. So as you ground down to your feet, inhale, straighten your legs and raise your arms up towards the open sky above. Exhale, rebend your knees and press your palms down towards the earth in front of you, spine tall. Inhale, straighten your legs and sweep your arms forward like an invitation. Bring them to your hearts. Exhale, rebend your knees and expand your palms out towards your left and right sides. Feel the gesture of the movements a few more times. Inhale, rise up, palms up towards the sky. Exhale, descend, palms down towards the earth. Inhale, invitation to the heart. Exhale, expand your wings wide. Bend the knees. Inhale, up, sky. Exhale, down, earth. Inhale, up, heart. Exhale, down and wide apart. Couple more rounds. Inhale, sky. Exhale, earth. Inhale, heart. Exhale, expand and descend. Last round, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. So from here, we're going to take an option of opening the hips. First option is more gentle. You come to sit, perhaps on a block or your rolled up blanket, if it feels uncomfortable to sit up tall. And you'll simply cross your right leg over the left. Whether you choose to stack your ankles and knees, flexing your feet in double pigeon, or if that's too much, just some kind of cross-legged seat like this. Then, when I set the timer, you can choose to fold forward, perhaps using blocks or pillow to catch your head like this. You can even make a tower of blocks. Let it be so that you're not rounding your back too much. It can be slightly, but you're allowing your shoulders to release, freeing space in your neck, your chest. And then halfway through the time, for those of you choosing this option, you'll simply switch the opposite leg on top in the same version of the pose and then fold in as well. We'll do it for 3 minutes in total, so 1.5 minutes each side. So stay up here if you're choosing that. The not so mild version is frog.
where you start on hands and knees, knees wide apart, wider than the hips. And you'll make sure, like the squat, that you're turning out your legs from your hips so that your feet are turned out too in the same direction as your knees. You'll want to bend your knees at 90-degree angles so that your knees and hips are in the same plane. Your knees and ankles are in the same plane. And then from here, you can lower your hands on props of any kind. You can come down to your forearms. Take your time. At least for me, frog pose is definitely a patience practicing pose. Sometimes it feels physically that you're in the same spot, but before you know it, sometimes the pelvis will descend. But no expectation. I'm setting the timer now for 1.5 minutes. So if you are taking the seated version, if you'd like to fold forward, you could start. I'll let you know when that 1.5 minutes is done so that you can switch sides. Our frog people will be here for both sides. So again, drop back into that kind, accepting, even though sometimes it can be difficult to be accepting, but open-hearted. Witness what comes up as you stay here longer in your body, mind, and emotions. You are doing the one at a time. Slowly lift your torso if you're bowing forward. And switch the cross of your legs. And turn back to for 1.5 minutes. Frog friends, we're halfway there. Now, if you are in frog, you might find that the traction on your mat prevents your thighs from splaying open a little wider. You may need to use the help of your hands, walk them a little closer to you, or your forearms, and see if your legs are ready to step the inner thighs wider apart. Walking them apart gently if that's allowable. Be aware if you're beginning to shift your pelvis more forward than your knees or further back behind your knees. If so, just realign your pelvis to coincide with your knees on the same plane. All right, that was fast. If you are in frog, we're going to stay in this orientation as you come into child's pose, pausing there for a few breaths. So simply walk your hands back, slide your inner edges of your feet to touch so the knees come a little closer together, and then sit back on your heels, rest your forehead. If you are seated upright, coming up from a forward fold, then extend your legs forward and give them some movement, like rolling your thighs inward and outward, gently shaking your legs, circling your feet.
Now, those transitioning from child's pose, slide your hands back alongside your knees and gently roll your spine upright so that we can all sit with legs extended in front. Let's grab your strap. You may want to use it for what's next. So coming to sit, take your right thigh and cross it over your left thigh so that you might align your knees to stack down your center. Either choose to keep your left leg straight. You might flex the foot gently just to help you sit upright, or see if you might be able to bend your bottom knee and splay your feet further apart. Kind of opposite from the hip opener we were just doing. Now with your right leg on top, take hold of your strap in your left hand. As you raise that arm, use your right hand to help you rotate your left tricep or outer upper arm slightly to face forward, thus broadening across the top of your left shoulder. Guide your elbow to bend behind your head to land your left palm between your shoulder blades. And keep pressing your left shoulder blade further down your back. Now, if you don't have a strap, you could just hold on to your shirt with your left hand, reaching your right hand underneath behind you. Catch the other end of the strap or your shirt, then walk both hands closer together. They might be able to clasp, in which you could let go of the strap. Firming down to your left and right sitting bones. Take a deep breath and feel as though you could restack your lower spine, middle spine, upper spine, crown of your head. As you exhale, feel both of your shoulder blades melt down your back ribs. Next, inhale, blossom your chest open from sternum, collarbones to shoulder heads. Now, as you exhale, soften inward the bottom of your front ribs. You might choose to stay upright or begin to bow forward. You might even decide to place your tower of blocks just in front of you to land your forehead on. We won't be here as long, about 5 to 8 more breaths. And with your next inhale, ground your pelvis and begin to lift your chest, slowly rising up. Release your legs, release your arms. And if you like, add any gentle movement before we switch sides. Then take your left thigh and cross it over the right as much as you can. Either straighten your right leg and gently flex the foot, or bend your right knee and splay your feet wider apart. Ground your 2 sitting bones. You might even move the flesh aside. Then raise your right arm, holding the strap so it's dangling behind you. With the help of your left hand, rotate your right outer upper arm slightly to face forward, broadening across the top of your shoulder. Bend your elbow behind your head and land your palm between your shoulder blades, maybe catching your shirt if you don't have a strap. Press your right shoulder blade down and reach your left hand behind you underneath, grabbing the other end of the strap or your shirt. Walk your hands as close together as you can. Perhaps your fingers meet to clasp. Then as you firm down through the left and right sides of your pelvis, visualize breathing in to the base of your spine up, restacking, realigning each vertebra up to your crown. And as you breathe out, Feel again the tops of your shoulders releasing down as you relax your trapezius muscle. Breathing in, blossom your chest open from the sternum out to the shoulders. Breathing out, soften your front ribs down towards your pubic bone. And now you might explore bowing forward, nurturing an open space at your throat. Five to 8 more deep breaths. And slowly, as you breathe in next, lift your chest and lift your spine. Let's release the arms and legs one more time. Any last movement here. Now either choose to sit tall with your legs in front of you or to sit on your shins in the hero's pose. Give the neck a little more stretch here. If you are in hero's pose, sitting on your shins, make sure that your toes are pointing behind you, not turned out to the sides, keeping your knees safe. You could also opt to place a block in between your ankles and sit on that as a stool. Now, using your right hand to press the ground, take your left hand, place it on the right side of your skull, and then gently drop your left ear closer to your left shoulder. Feel your in-breath broaden your chest again. And your out-breath, slide your shoulders down. As your two sitting bones ground, feel an uplift of your spine from your pelvis. Notice the muscles in your face. Is there any tension held between your eyebrows, along your jaw? One more breath here. And gently release your left hand to lift your head upright, placing your left fingertips on the floor. Place your right hand on the left side of your skull. And gently drop your right ear closer to your right shoulder. Feel a slight lift of your spine from your pelvis. Descent of your shoulders away from your neck. Allow your skull to be heavy as you relax your scalp. Feeling your tongue soften as you relax your cheeks. Let's take 2 last breaths here. As you gently release your right hand, lifting the top of your head, place your 2 hands onto your lower back, fingertips pointing down. And as your hands gently guide your glutes to release downward towards the earth, lift your back ribs away from your glutes. and press your belly gently towards your back. Take a deep in breath, opening your chest, roll the fronts of your shoulders behind you. As you exhale, bend your elbows closer together, coiling your chest up. Feel the length at the back of your neck as you start to gaze up with a natural space at your throat. Just 3 more breaths here. Glide your chin towards the back of your throat, lifting to your crown. Take 1 more breath as you lift your heart space. And release your hands, roll your spine upright. Let's get set up for a delicious Shavasana. So you might want more of a heart opener, in which you could use your 2 blocks, tallest block under the head, medium block under the bottom tips of the shoulder blades. You might want your back to be completely flat on the floor, and perhaps you use your rolled up blanket as relief for your lower back, right under the backs of your knees. If you need a greater relief for your lower back, perhaps you bend your knees, separate the feet wider than hips distance, and drop your knees inward together to touch. Whether you rest your left hand on your heart, right hand on your navel, or turn the palms up, landing the arms on the earth, find symmetry in the left and right sides of your body, starting with your shoulders, then with your hips, your legs, your feet, your arms, your hands. And then close your eyes once you've established your position. From the center of your chest, imagine a warm, nurturing green light. As you take a deep in breath, you bring that warmth throughout your body, all ends from crown to feet. And as you slowly exhale through your lips, that light remains there, but it emanates from you too, out through the pores of your skin. Let go of controlling your breath. Allow your body to rest. Let your mind follow suit as you stay a witness of it all. As you listen to my voice, allow your body to remain still. If you have time to stay longer in Shavasana, please feel free to stay. If you prefer to close the practice together, then start to move your fingers and toes, perhaps move your head. Notice what part of your body wants to move first. If you're leaving Shavasana, you might gather your knees into your chest. Give yourself a real hug. A thank you for this time. Slowly turning over to your right side, resting your head for a few breaths. When you feel ready, press into the ground and slowly lift your torso. Come into a comfortable seat. Feel the ground beneath. Feel the openness in your body. Let your palms meet at your heart, lifting that. And then bowing in. Right here, right now. What prayer of thanks can you gift your own self, your body, your inner guidance? Let's close in gratitude to our shared space, community. One Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.